Thanks for tuning in to 10 Minutes on Dr. Dianchin's TV network. This is Kendra Rasmussen. Dr. Iserman.
I'm Alex Andrews.
We begin tonight with a story of a UW-Platteville college student and how his life changed drastically over just one day. He was just like any other college student. He was a full-time student who had a part-time job and was on the school's rugby team. However, there was something different that Alex didn't even know himself. Nice to meet you, Alex. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so you were just a normal college student getting good grades. When did you start to notice something just wasn't right?
So I actually noticed it the first time at practice. I felt slow, I was having difficulty keeping up with the other guys, and it wasn't like we were doing anything different than usual, so that's why I knew something was up. We do a lot of running and jumping, and it seemed like I was running slower than normal. I couldn't even seem to keep my coordination. I was dropping passes, missing easy tackles, and I couldn't catch my breath. At first, I thought I was just tired from studying, working, practicing so much, but even after resting and taking some time off, things didn't get better. Everyday tasks like walking up the stairs, walking distances, didn't seem as easy as they used to. I was tripping and stumbling over my own feet, which is typically not me. After being frustrated for like 8 months, I decided to see a doctor. I didn't know if I was just imagining it or if something was really wrong with me. I just needed some peace of mind.
With debilitating symptoms, Alex finally decided to visit his local doctor, where multiple tests were done to find out exactly what was going on with his body. Dr. Iserman. Thanks for having me. Do you have any idea what was wrong with him based on his symptoms?
The main symptom Alex presented was muscle weakness. After doing a physical exam and testing his strength and coordination, it was clear that the majority of his weakness was in his legs and pelvis. This explained why he was finding it hard to keep up at practice and why he seemed to be tripping and stumbling. Another symptom was that Alex had exceptionally large calf muscles, and when he walked, he tended to walk on his toes. These symptoms appear in many different diseases, including cerebral palsy, polymyositis, and limb-girdle muscular dystrophies.
So, did Alex have one of those diseases, or how did you decide what to do next?
Exactly. Before meeting with Alex, I reviewed his family's medical history, and it turned out that a form of muscular dystrophy referred to as Becker muscular dystrophy, also known as BMD, ran in his family.
Does that mean Alex's diagnosis was Becker muscular dystrophy?
At that point, it was highly likely, based off his family history and the symptoms he presented, but to make the diagnosis, I had to run some tests.
Alex really had Becker muscular dystrophy. Dr. Iserman had to conduct several tests, including further muscle and neurological exams, lab tests including a CPK blood test, electromyography, EMG nerve testing, genetic blood tests, and imaging tests. Conducting all these tests, what were your results?
Well, the imaging test showed muscle deformities such as fat and connective tissue that built up in the calf muscles. This is known as pseudohypertrophy. The blood test showed a high level of creatine kinase, which is a result of muscle being destroyed in the body, and the neurological test ruled out nervous system disorders. These results all pointed to muscular dystrophy, but it was the genetic test that told us what type of muscular dystrophy Alex had.
So after seeing Dr. Iserman and going through so many different tests, she finally had her diagnosis?
Yep.
And what was that diagnosis?
She said I had Becker muscular dystrophy, something I'd heard about before, so my heart instantly sank.
Becker muscular dystrophy. How did you finally arrive at that diagnosis?
The symptoms Alex presented were common symptoms of this disease. Furthermore, Alex had a history of this disease in his family, which made it more likely that BMD was what Alex had. The way to be sure that it was BMD was to do genetic testing. BMD is an X-linked disease that usually shows up in males who get the affected X chromosome from their mother. One of a mother's 2 X chromosomes has a 50% chance of inheriting the flawed gene and having BMD. After running some genetic tests, it turned out that Alex's mother was in fact a carrier of the disease and that she had passed on the affected X chromosome to Alex.
So what's really going on in the muscles of a person who has BMD?
BMD is caused by a gene that cannot function properly because it has a dystrophin mutation. Dystrophin is a protein that surrounds each muscle fiber and helps keep the muscle fibers intact. Without dystrophin working properly, the muscle is very likely to sustain damage and break down more easily, resulting in muscle weakness and atrophy. This explains all of Alex's current symptoms. As the disease progresses, Alex could face more serious symptoms like cardiomyopathy, troubles breathing, bone deformities, and further muscle atrophy, which eventually may leave Alex wheelchair-bound.
What was going through your head when Dr. Eisenman gave you your diagnosis?
I was shocked. I've heard of this disease before, but never thought too much about it because no one ever thinks that much into it. I wish I would have known I was at a higher risk for it, as seeing how my family has a history of BMD. It was especially hard to find out there is no real cure for the disease. My whole life changed that day.
So there's no cure for BMD?
Unfortunately, BMD is not curable. However, compared to other muscular dystrophies, BMD progresses very slowly. There are also a number of treatments available that can help alleviate the symptoms and slow down the progression of the disease. These include medications such as prednisone, creatine therapy, respiratory insufflator and exsufflators, which allow the chest to expand when breathing, the use of the different braces, occupational and speech therapy, and the most beneficial treatment, physical therapy. Alex's mood gets better when he has his dog with him. So we made that part of his treatment plan, and I'm really glad we did because it's been going great.
Since my disease hasn't progressed very far yet, my main treatment is physical therapy.
Right now, Alex is meeting with his physical therapist twice a week and is performing stretches and exercises daily in hope to maintain his muscle strength, flexibility, range of motion, and to prevent him from developing further problems such as contractures and scoliosis. If Alex stays on top of his health and is consistent with his physical therapy, he could live well into his 40s or 50s.
I'm definitely willing to put the work in. My physical therapist and Dr. Eisman explained to me what severe symptoms can arise later in my life, and I want to stay away from those symptoms as long as possible and live out my youth.
Has it been hard dealing with all these new changes in your life? Have your friends and family been supportive of you?
Yeah, they were pretty surprised considering that I'm the kind of person who likes to be stubborn about my health issues. My friends felt pretty bad for telling me to tough it out and making jokes at first when I didn't know what was going on, but they've been nothing but supportive since. My family was just as shocked as I was, but have been by my side through it all. I even got an emotional support dog as part of my therapy. Her name's Zoe. Even finding out my results, I was really down, and my doctor told me this could really help me when I'm feeling lonely and nervous, and it really did.
So, do you have any advice for anybody out there who might be starting to feel symptoms like you were a year ago?
Yeah, I actually wrote it down here so that I could remember exactly what I wanted to say. Listen to your body. You know yourself better than anyone else. If you feel like something's wrong, go get it checked out. The longer you wait, the worse off things could end up being in the long run. I'm just glad that I took the step for myself when others told me I just needed to rest and things would get better. Sometimes you have to do what's best for you, and in my case, I'm forever grateful I listened to myself this time.
And that's our story for tonight. Thanks for tuning in to 10-ish minutes on Dr. Diansion's TV network. Good night.